Okay, this is Trophy Gold, The Halls of the Blood King. This is part 2 of a series we started quite a while ago, but then never continued. We are down a character, so we don't have Nima the Bloodletter. And so we will, at the beginning, we'll try to figure out maybe where we think Nima is and kind of account for Nima's absence. But in any case, I think what we should do is we should probably do a recap. I think the really important thing for us is just to figure out sort of everyone's motivations for being at the halls of the Blood King, being in the dungeon, and kind of what was going on right before we ended the last session. So the big picture thing is this castle and the surrounds appeared in your world. It's not from your world, but it just appears, and it appeared atop the manor of what was the name of that family? The
Holston.
Holston. That's right, Holston's Holston Hall. And you all had you learned in various ways that this castle is the lair of a godlike blood drinking king who travels from world to world collecting a blood tax from his followers. And one of his followers is apparently Lady Holston, and she owes a blood tax. What that blood tax is, we don't quite know yet, but that's the sort of big picture thing that was going on. Now, Adrian is going to give us a little bit more deeper recap because Adrian has watched the video. And so what is some of the backstory stuff going on, Adrian?
So we got back to Holston Hall, which is where the House of the Blood King appeared. And I think Simone was there, which is Lady Holston in hiding in a way, or some form of Lady Holston that has survived. We went to the castle. There is like a perimeter fence and some vines. While the other two went around to the side, I think. Triss went up to the front and talked to the guards there. And he tried to sweet talk them, but they didn't want to have anything to do with him. They asked for an invitation. He was unable to present something and had to walk back and join the others at the side. There was a skeleton wedged in the entrance, which we pulled out. There were some animated vines, and Triss used a ritual to burn a hole through these vines. So that's how we got past them. But there was a devil's bargain, which is important for you to remember, because Triss's devil bargain was that he is Simone's blood tax, whatever that may mean. So we'll find out what that means later. So we got through the vines with this immolation ritual, and then that's basically it. We spotted these hounds patrolling the gardens. That's where we ended it last time.
And in terms of motivations, why were you all going into this castle? Is it just to get treasure, or was there something deeper going on? That's the main thing I'm really concerned with. I know that Simone asked you to go, right? And so I'm trying to remember just like what the motivation was there. Do you recall?
I know that from Vanek's perspective, he's more concerned with protecting the noble that he lives with, as well as his wife and his homestead, right, because of the doom that he's
yes, there was this whole scene, right, with Vanek and the Lord, and kind of them talking about how to protect, how the Lord can be protected, and what these Blood King's halls mean for them, I think. And I think for Triss, basically, I think it's part of the plan, kind of working with, or somehow this connection with Simone, which sometimes, I think it's still ambivalent. Sometimes he is kind of following her, and sometimes he's doing his own thing. So I think these two. Sorry,
The thing with Vanek's Lord is interesting because we had sort of like insinuated that this Blood King was maybe here to do more than just collect his tax and move on. And so maybe part of the reason Vanek is going on to do this is to figure out precisely what the Blood King is up to and to help protect, right, like the land essentially, right? It's a very heroic sort of move, I think. So it's good. Good. Okay, great.
I do have one question, and I don't know if we answered it in play or not. So feel free to say you don't know that. But while I know that Simone / Lady Holston has a blood tax to pay, I can't remember the same is true for the other creature, whose name I can't even remember at this point. Sarku, that's his name. Whether, because I know he's in some sort of competition with Lady Holston. I just don't know if he has a blood tax to pay.
Yeah, we haven't discussed Sarku too much yet. Sarku may make an appearance because Sarku also knows about this. That was established because it kind of sounds like Sarku and Lady Holston are the same kind of creature, basically, right?
Yeah.
And if Lady Holston owes her fealty to this Blood King character, then probably so does Sarku, right? But we don't really quite know what Sarku's deal is yet. So, but it's a good point, though. And so, with all of that said, I think we're pretty much ready to begin. So, if you want to take a look at the map, you have come in through the west side, through that hole in the gate that Adrian described, and essentially the front part of this yard area is large beds of beautifully manicured flower beds, but they're all roses, these really vibrant, rich red roses. Now they look kind of black under moonlight, but if you were to sort of shine your lantern light on them, they would be this very like rich vermilion. And the yard around, going like towards the back and sides of the castle, the roses are growing kind of wild. They're there too, but they're growing kind of wild. They're growing up the fence, as you can see in my little background image. And so that's one thing to be aware of, because we've seen the vines move. And so they may continue to be a problem. And then we have these hounds. These hounds are slick and elongated. They have very long whip-like but segmented whip-like tails, these snouts that are like all teeth practically, and these like blazing red eyes. They look very much like something out of like an H.R. Giger sort of painting, right? And there are a number of them stalking the perimeter of the castle. We have a set goal here. The set goal is gain entry into the manor. And so I don't know if you have 3 tokens, but to remind you, spending 3 tokens automatically achieves the set goal, or you can spend your tokens to find treasures. And but it looks like you all have a big well, no, you have a few. Vanek has 2 Huntwell tokens, so that's not nothing. And yeah, but in any case, I'm going to start with Vanek. Vanek, what do you want to do? Oh, and Nima. I'm going to say that Nima did not go in through the fence with you. Nima's attention was drawn away by something else, and you waited for a while, but she never came back, and so you're just pressing forward. That's the deal. Before the guards start making a perimeter on the outside of the fence.
Right. Well, the way I dropped my voice, we're kind of hunkered down, I'm imagining, next to this hedge. And I drop my voice and speak to Triss, saying, well, we can either make a try for the front door or see if there's a way to go in through the back. But either way, these hounds are going to be a bit of a problem. We might be able to. I have a trick that might help us work our way around them, but very risky.
Well, I guess if you have anything, then now is probably the time.
Did you want to try for the back door or the front?
These guards in the front didn't really look like they were happy with us being here, so I'm not sure. Can we see the guards like through the gate on the other side?
Yes.
Is it like an open? Okay.
Yeah, it's open, and they're just standing sentry there where you left them.
So I think Tristo said, like, if we can avoid being seen by them, I think it would be good for us. I think these hounds are enough for us to deal with right now.
Okay, then we'll see if there's an entrance in the back. We'll try for that.
And so, Vanek, what's your move here?
So looking down the hedge, what's along the? I see from the map that there are 8 sort of clumps of hedges. I'm imagining those to be more of a maze with clear paths between them. But what's all the way down? Is that like open space or a path or next to the side of the manse?
Like on the west and eastern sides?
Correct.
That's just like kind of it's just yard, and the roses are growing kind of wild there.
The same roses that are animated.
Yes, and the blocks in the southern portion, that's actually just flower beds. That's just manicured versions of the roses, so like contained. Right. And then the hounds stalk the pathways, and then there's one hound that makes there's like 2 hounds that stalk the pathways, and there's one hound that makes a perimeter like around the manor itself. So
all right. Well, if we're going to go for the back, we've got to sort of hug the fence and go all the way around the mansion. So that's what we're going to do. And I will try to use I will use my delay ability to, as we move, push any creatures that we encounter backwards so that they are in a position where they could not notice us as we move by.
Yeah, I like that a lot. This is a ritual that you have?
This is a ritual, yes.
Awesome, let's do it. So you've stated your goals pretty clearly. We're going to do a risk roll. What could go wrong here, Adrian? Any thoughts?
I think the hounds, while being kept back, could actually still see us and start making a lot of noise, alerting the guards in the front.
I had a similar idea that they're still dangerous if they can't get to you. And again, it comes from like being able to bay and call attention to you or whatever, right? I like that a lot. Let's roll forward and let's look at dice. So do you have a relevant skill or piece of equipment, or are you using the environment in an interesting way? Maybe hugging the fence, possibly.
Yeah, using the roses and the other obstacles here for cover, as well as my ritual. And let's see, what do we have? I have a crowbar that I can use to like maintain our distance from the sharp moving things. So that would be a mechanism for navigating.
Yeah, I like that. I think you've got your first light die, no problem. The second light die, of course, is if you accept a devil's bargain from either Adrian or myself. And so devil's bargains, just as a reminder, are things that will happen no matter what, whether you succeed or fail. This is a thing that will happen. And I'm going to say that no matter what, you will have to deal with a particularly aggressive clump of roses and their vines. So
sorry, is the player allowed to offer their own devil's bargain?
You are not.
Oh, okay.
I'll try something very different. Someone's in the castle looking out, recognizing or seeing us coming in, no matter what.
That's pretty good. I like that. So what do you think?
I'll take the devil's bargain that somebody inside sees us.
I love it. So you got 2 light dice, and of course you have to do a dark die because of the ritual. So go ahead and roll. Do you need the die roller? It's in the trophy Discord, if so.
Yep. So I'm doing /risk 2 space 1.
Correct.
All right.
That is a 4 dark. What's your current ruin?
My current ruin is 2.
Okay. And so your ruin will go up, and you'll have to stop because the dark is higher. Although Triss can offer a help if you can think of a way of helping with this, Triss, in which case you will roll a die of your own, Triss, and see how that goes.
I do have the distraction skill, so that might be helpful. Let's see. Do we want? So let's see. How does that work again? I need to roll a dark die.
I'm finding
right?
the rule for it because I don't remember.
Right.
I promise I publish and help develop this game, but I actually don't remember.
I haven't looked at it for a while too. So, but that's in the new trophy dark PDF, right?
It is in the new. It is in the. Yeah, it's in the new. It's in the
right?
new dark PDF. I'm looking for that as well. So hold on.
Yeah.
Oh, here it is. I got
I
it.
don't think I have this here anyway on my computer.
I have the PDF handy. Let me just look
yeah,
it up real fast.
No,
It's good to be
let's
reminded
figure
of
it out.
how games work.
Let's remind everyone how the help roll, what the help roll looks like.
It's a good roll. It's almost always unfavorable to the players, but it's there as an
Yes.
option. Let's see here. Rolls. Okay, we're getting close. Rolling
Page
the
18.
dice. Very good. Okay, the help roll. If another player is making a risk roll that includes at least 1 dark die, this does, you may offer to help improve their odds of success either before or after they roll. If they accept your offer, say how you expose yourself to danger and roll a light die. So that's how we start.
Okay, so I can roll a light die, but if it's 4 or if it's under, then I also take the ruin. Is that correct?
If your light die matches any of the dark dice, you mark a ruin. So basically, if you roll a 4.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
So
but if you get a 6,
more than a 4, yeah. If you don't lower
yeah, I
than
think
a 4,
I'll do. Let's try that. So I think let's see. I still have this blood red stone that the guards were not really interested in, but I might throw it somewhere into the front to kind of distract the guards, the hounds, when they're just about to notice us, despite the delay.
Very good. I like that. And so you're kind of exposing yourself because if you throw that and it doesn't trick them, then you'll be alerting them essentially.
Exactly.
Okay, I like that. And so do a weak one, just do a weak roll to see what you get.
Okay.
All
right. Okay.
It was in fact a 4. And so you are stuck with the result. This is it. And both your ruins are going up. So great start. So let's talk about, you're going to succeed. You are going to be able to navigate towards the back, no problem, because you do get the benefit of your success no matter what, right? You got that. There is going to be a complication though. The exact rule, in fact, says that on a 4 or 5, you succeed, but there's some kind of complication. I'll describe the complication and then you describe how you succeed or vice versa.
So just out of curiosity, Jason, if I chose to re-roll my dice, I can't.
You can't because the dark's high. Yeah, the dark's high.
Okay, dang it.
Yeah. So the complication, quite simply, Vanek, is going to be that you drop something from your gear. And so, and you don't have time to go back and get it. So I'll let you decide what it is, but otherwise, just give us the scene. I'll interrupt you at some point to tell you who's looking at you from the castle. So go ahead.
I'm
My-
doing this, or is it Adrian?
Both of us, I think, or you can
Okay.
start.
You can both. It's,
yeah,
it's your role though, so yeah.
Does the person looking at us from above have something to do with our ruin going up?
Possibly. I'm kind of
Okay.
into that. I was just thinking it might just be the simple matter of like nasty rose vines tearing at you or
Oh, I
whatever,
see.
right?
Okay.
But if you want to go with something different, that's fine as well.
No, I think that makes mostly sense, that we're basically trying to avoid the hounds by going through the rose bushes.
Right.
Yeah.
And the
okay.
rose bushes, what they do is if they get their thorns inside you, they drink bits of your blood. They're like very aggressive mosquitoes. Like they will drink bits of your blood, and that's how the roses get that beautiful red color. You have to wade through enough of them to where it causes your ruin to increase, but you avoid the hounds. So this is important. And importantly, there's magic going on. I want to know what the magic looks like too. So yeah, just give us the scene, Marwin. What does this look like?
All right. So Vanek says to Triss, "Stay close to me. Stay very close. We can do this together." And we start moving along the wall, and Vanek has his crowbar out, pushing the vines away from him as he moves forward. Some of them, of course, wind their way around the crowbar, and it's hard to extricate it, but he does his best. And others of them snap back, kind of like the lead person in a chain, pushing a twig out of the way, and then it snaps back, and some of them end up hitting Triss that way. But as we're moving, the hounds that are hunting for us, as soon as Vanek catches sight of one, he exerts his ritual to shove them back around a corner, just long enough for us to make our way past the next obstacle between us and them. And we continue on in this fashion. And one of them, we almost trip right over one of the hounds as we're traveling. And at that point, I imagine Triss throwing his rock to distract it at the same moment that I send it back in time just enough. And instead of looking our way, it looks the direction of the rock. It may catch our scent later, but for now we're safe. And we managed to make it along the wall toward the back of the manor.
I think Triss, I mean, he's still, he's kind of dancing between the vines and still with this kind of cocky manner. But when this one hound appears to notice us and he throws the rock, he like turns around and with his cocky demeanor kind of steps into one of the vines and loses his balance for a moment, and one of the vines just slashes him across his pretty face, and there's a nasty gash.
Nice. I will tell you that as you begin this crawl towards, basically along the western side of the fence, you'll notice as you start to go north that on the sort of most southerly portion of that western side of the manor, one of the windows is open. There's an open window, and you see a woman staring out at both of you, and she stands out because she seems to glow with like a luminescence, like a ghostly blue luminescence. I put a picture of her on the image board if you want to see what she looks like. But she has this she's wearing these very, very like multi-layered, rich fabrics, also glowing quite sort of ghostly blue. And her hair is almost like neon, and it sort of undulates in the air behind her. And she has this quite elaborate headdress. And she's looking out the window. And Triss, you will hear her say, and this is on the ground floor, by the way, not, I should mention, this is like kind of lower where you're at, so you can hear her pretty well. You will hear her say, "My son, is that you?" Triss, you probably don't have time to delay here, but I am curious how you respond.
I think Triss stops because I think he is an orphan. He doesn't know his mother. So when like that, he really gives him pause for just a second. But then I think they tries to get around the corner as quickly as possible to avoid that woman's look. And he says that there's someone up there, in there. She's calling out to me. I don't know what it means, but I guess we'll find out.
Indeed. You are at the rear of the house. There is a small door there. Let me take a look at the sort of keyed areas here.
Vanek lets out a sigh of relief since he's glad there is a door.
There is indeed. Yeah, I know that was a bit of a risk, but there is in fact a door, and it looks fairly plain. The doors in the front, you didn't get a good look at them, but the rest of this castle is quite ornate, so you can make an assumption that the doors were probably pretty ornate. This is a fairly simple door, just a sort of like a deep ebony wood door with a surprisingly simple brass handle. Triss, what do you do?
I think Triss says, what do you think, Vanek? Think the door will open, or will you have to use this? And pointing at the crowbar in his hands.
Vanek says one way or another, that door's going to open.
And I think Triss will try the door handle.
It opens, and you can step inside.
I think Triss remembered when we started entering these halls, and when we were outside, Triss said kind of that historically, in the last couple of years while we are out adventuring together, it somehow was always good for them when Triss went ahead scouting or kind of, headed right into danger. So I think that's what Triss is going to continue doing. So he boldly steps inside to take a look at where we find ourselves.
Indeed.
So do we think that basically this wherever that woman was looking out of is on this floor?
It is on this floor, but
Okay.
It was like in the more southerly portion, like
Sure.
if you had come in from the front. So,
Sure.
Yeah.
But we know that's what we think, at least on this floor. Okay.
Yeah. There's only at a glance, it seems like there's like 2 floors based off the windows, but they have very swooping tall ceilings. So it looks very big, but there's only like 2 levels basically. And one's much smaller, kind of like a cake topper, right? So inside is very interesting. This place is, it's really quite something to see. The walls are a deep blood red color, and they seem to have thick tube-like veins running all around them. And they even pulse. You can see like it appears to be like blood, sort of like flowing through the walls. And if you didn't know it was blood, you might think it was almost like gradient light, like kind of just flowing through the walls, right? The ceilings are very high. They arch high overhead. And you're in a hallway, and it looks as it does in the map, with doors in all the places that appear on the map. But you're kind of coming in from that northern entrance, which is the back entrance. To your immediate right, there's a staircase, and then you have hallways going in all directions, or in two directions, basically, at that point. Vanek and Triss, you are both inside. The set goal is complete. You're in the west wing of the house, which has a new set goal. The west wing set goal is make an alliance with the vampire hunter. So Vanek, what do you do? Vanek, did you hear that? Who knows? Merwin, can you hear us?
I can hear you just fine. I'm Vanek's, Adrian's on mute at the moment.
Oh, I was asking Vanek.
Oh.
So,
Oh, sorry.
No worries. So what do you do once you go inside?
Oh, my bad. I was totally spaced out trying to think
That's
of what
okay.
I was doing.
That's all right.
Okay. So Adrian's up ahead, and I'm coming up behind him.
Right.
And of course, it's what do you see? There's a hallway in both directions. Did he mention, or did we both see the woman at the window?
Yes, Triss made a mention of that,
Okay.
but it was just kind of was remarked upon, and then you all continued. So
I say the woman at the window did not seem dangerous. Perhaps we should seek allies within the castle before we find more danger. Which room would you think she was in? The one, perhaps the one to our left?
Somewhere down this hallway.
it'd be down
the
the western
south,
hall.
Okay.
Okay.
To our right, down the hall. But I'm not so sure. I mean, she will know that we're here, but I'm wondering, I don't want to be caught with someone behind us. So why don't we move? I think can I, using the obscure ritual, can I try to hide us both? Or is that only one person?
Let's read what it says.
It says hide a person or object from spirits.
So I think it's a person or object. So
Okay.
yeah, whether that's you or Vanek.
Sure. So I think Triss say, do you want me to scout ahead a bit? I might be able to pass unseen.
That would be okay. Just don't go too far. I really don't want to end up alone in a place like this.
I won't. Don't you worry about that, Vanek. You won't get rid of me so easily. So I think I'll try to cloak myself and kind of draw my jacket closer and kind of put up maybe a hood.
Like it. Let's do a risk roll. It sounds like you're trying to just be unseen, which is
Yes.
perfectly fine. What could go wrong, Merlin?
Well, the obvious one is that he could actually be seen, but that goes without saying.
That's what I was going to say. The obvious answer is not only are you seen, you're like, you alert people to your presence, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Through the magic, probably.
I think what might happen is rather than meeting one threat at a time or avoiding one threat at a time, you get into a pincered position where there are two threats, which is how you get seen. That might be a really nasty sort of complication.
That's a nasty complication indeed. I love it. Let's talk about dice. Do you have a relevant skill, equipment, or using the environment in a different way? Or in a cool way?
Evasion will
I'll take
probably
it.
be a good skill for this.
So you have one light die, and now Devil's Bargains. So the ritual says hide a person or object from spirits. So theoretically, you can be seen by non-spirits, right? And I think that's super interesting. I'm going to say that Merwin, go ahead if you have an offer. I'm still thinking of mine.
I think a devil's bargain might be something takes him off his path to a room that he wasn't planning to go into.
I like that. Still unseen, or not, possibly, but no matter what, yeah, you get, okay, I like that. That's pretty good. I'm going to say that no matter what, you are being, I'm trying to see how I want to verbalize this. No matter what, something is watching you from the ceiling.
I think we have enough watchers already, so I think I like that I end up somewhere that I am drawn to somewhere, I end up somewhere that I wasn't planning to go to. So I think I'm going to take that.
Let's have dice. 2 light, 1 dark.
Okay.
Yes.
6 dark. Ruin is going up. It's maybe not a great result, but it's a full success. You are cloaked from spirits. And so that's good. Where are you intending to start?
I think, let's see. I think Triss is actually planning on going to the left because still spooked by that presence, by that woman, and kind of doesn't really feel that that's the first thing that he wants to seek out here.
But
so I think going to the left.
You are going to get corralled to the right. And I think the thing that corrals you to the right is on the left, stepping out from around the corner are a pair of guards, a pair of these guards wearing this red armor. Vanek can quickly take cover by just stepping back into the hall, no problem. But you can't go that way now because, well, it's unknown if they count as spirits or not. But in any case, I don't know, do you maybe not want to test it and that's why you go the other way, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think I basically probably it might be that I go out there and I'm just about to take a step into the direction on the left, and then they just come around the corner. Yeah. And the quickest place for me to hide again is to around the other corner. Yeah, right there. Like.
Yeah, I think that's good. So we'll say you're by this yeah, right where that little dot is, you're kind of like right there, maybe even down a little further so they can't see you, you know. Which room do you want to try?
Well, so I think the first one I can now without the guards seeing me. So I think I have to. Yeah, I'm kind of worried where Vanek might be able to hide now that these guards seem to be coming in our direction. But I think I will slip into this first, like the second door in this corridor, because the first one is inside of the guard. So the second on the left, like
yeah, the one that looks like it's got like little
beds
or something in it. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
So let's take a look at that, and we'll come back to you in a moment, Vanek. We haven't forgotten about you, but so you're able to go inside, no problem. And inside, it appears to be, well, you see several large cabinets. Those are cabinets on the map. And there are also statues of knights, but the metal is like a red metal. And yeah, so what do you do?
I think I'm gonna start opening cabinet doors.
When you open up the cabinet doors, you quickly or do a hunt roll. Do a hunt roll.
Yeah. Let's see. I don't think I have any skills here directly or objects that might help me.
Take one die then.
Ooh, okay, it's a 1.
The dice are very cruel today. You get, if you had any hunt roll tokens, they're gone. And we're going to cut away from that. Vanek, you will notice Triss go that way. The guards basically walk across that northern hallway. They don't notice you as long as you stick to the little entry hall from the back door, and they just keep going around. So there are no worries. But in that room on the upper left side, the one just north of the one that that Triss went into, you'll hear like something heavy being moved near the door, like a heavy like. What do you do?
Yipes. Well, my first thought is Triss went the wrong way. And my second thought is, oh crap, the guard's coming. I need to make myself as small as possible. And so once the guard goes by, I think my next step is to stay within reach of Triss without actually interfering in what he's doing. Because I'm not getting left behind in this place. That's all I know.
So are you going to the armory as well?
Yeah, but I'm not going in. I'm basically, when the guard goes by, I'm going to tuck myself right along the wall that the door that the noise is coming out of.
Mm-hmm.
So the person's less likely to see me when they open the door, but where I can get to where Triss is quickly if I need to.
They do open that door, and a woman steps out. She is well, I've got a picture. That's what's great about this module. There's pictures of everything. She's tall. She's kind of broad-shouldered. She's wearing armor, and she is absolutely loaded for bear in terms of weapons.
Uh-oh.
Let's get that there. She's got stakes on her hip. She has, there she is. She's got little vials of liquid that are also on her belt, and she's got a sword. But she looks a little haggard, maybe a little malnourished, and very nervous. Like as she comes out, she's probably just as nervous as you are, Vanek. She's like looking left, looking right to see. She's really focused on the guards. I think she heard the guards pass, and now she's kind of making her move, right? And she hasn't seen you yet, Vanek. What do you do?
Okay. I if she's looking at the guard, if I can intuit that she is actually looking at the guards with more caution than looking out for anybody, more caution than sort of just general observation, I will put up a hand and put a finger to my lips to indicate that I mean, A, I mean no harm, B, stay quiet.
She sees you, her eyes widen, and she lunges forward, grabs you, pulls you rapidly, quickly, she's very strong, into the armory. She pulls you into the armory, and where you are, Triss, and Triss, you see them come in, and she closes the door really quickly, and she turns and says, there's another one as well. Today is a day for invaders, it seems. Perhaps the people of this world are a little more brave than in worlds past. So what brings you here? She can see you, Triss.
I think I'm startled just going through these cupboards, and there might have been something in there that I was just very disturbed by, but now I turn around and take my eyes off that, and I say, I think Triss is surprised, quickly kind of gathers his wits, is also very intrigued by that person, seems very powerful, and
she pushes past you both, and she says, I don't have time for dallying around. And she starts opening the cabinets, and she's pulling out weapons because the cabinets are loaded with weapons. She says, I need crossbow bolts, and she's grabbing crossbow bolts, and she's kind of like loading those up, and she's kind of looking at swords, and she says, the two of you are a little light in terms of arms and armor. I recommend you grab whatever you can grab.
Do we expect a big fight, my lady?
She says, being in this place is a constant state of survival. You will do whatever you can to survive the horrors of it, which change always. And whenever this place arrives in a new dimension, things get heightened, even more terrifying.
I've seen a woman in the window, but it wasn't you. Her hair was in this intricate, have you any idea who she might be?
Did she whisper of her son?
Yes.
Yes, she thinks everyone is her son. I don't know anything else about her apart from that.
Quick, kind of takes a deep breath. I see. We better take some weapons then. You seem to know your way around here, and also you seem to not be hostile. Are you a guest of the Blood King?
That is certainly one way of putting it. No, I'm trapped here. But now that I'm trapped here, I intend to make the best of it. Do you have any food? Real food, not blood and rat meat.
Don't have any written on my character sheet, so.
You
I
always have
think-
rations, so.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I think so. Okay. I think this person seems to be the one thing that positive kind of thing that we've met since we're in here, and she seems to know her way around. So I think what Triss will do is take out a bottle of Valanti wine that he's carrying, and he also has this. I mean, he is an expert in carousing, and he also has this hospitality ritual. So I think he might say something like, if there are that many dangers out there, I think we could use a moment of rest. Why don't you share some food and this wine with us, and I will make sure that nobody will disturb us for now. And then when we are rested, we might deal with whatever's out there.
She grabs the wine from your hand and cracks open the neck of it and just begins drinking it, guzzling it. She says, "Oh, it has been a long time since I have had wine, poor or high quality. This is mercifully high quality, and it is welcome. Thank you. Food. Do you have any food?"
I hand her some of my rations.
She just devours it, just digs into it, tears into it, just ripping bits of dried meat, and you can see, she's tearing into it so fast that she's just letting the strands of meat stay stuck in her teeth, and she.
How long have you been here?
Too long. But go ahead.
I say we know the way to the back door. We can get you out if that's what you want.
No. I'm in too deep now. And in any case, if you think it's possible to escape this place, you are most naive indeed, sir.
That's distressing.
Why don't you tell us some more about what you know about this while we sit here and rest and get our strength that we will need to survive here?
She looks at you, gives you an apprehensive look, and before she gives her answer, we'll take a 5-minute break. I want to clarify something real quick. The stairs that are right by the back entrance, those are going down. That's important. And then the stairs that are just below the room that you're in, that are just at the south there, those are going up. So just want to clarify that little point. And so this woman who is loaded for bear, she's kind of grabbing equipment while she's talking to you and shoving bits of ration in her mouth while she does so, periodically. She says, "I intend to destroy the Blood King. And if you can help me do that, I'll tell you what I know about this place."
You know how to destroy him?
I'm getting closer and closer to the matter, let me tell you. I have faced him several times now. I have shot him clean through with arrows and crossbow bolts. I have stabbed him in the chest with wooden stakes. I have doused him with holy water. Nothing ever quite works. He just laughs. He laughs. And then I realize my folly and run back to my safe place. There's a way to kill him, though. Something can do it. Everything can be destroyed. Nothing is truly invulnerable.
I wonder, I think while we are sharing this wine still with her and kind of she telling us the story, I would like to take a closer look at her and see whether I can kind of see something like if there's anything familiar about her where she comes. So she doesn't seem to be from here, but is she like from a different world, or do I recognize like any culture from anywhere else, or any marks of where she might have come from?
Take a hunt roll, sure.
So I guess this time carousing is a skill in this situation that might help me.
Oh, I see. Trying to get her to like open up a little bit or something.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I'm into
exactly.
that. Yeah, take 2. Yeah.
It's a 4.
The answer is no. She speaks the same language as you, but that's probably just some magic of the castle, to be honest. She has an accent you don't recognize. Her manner of dress is totally foreign to you. And she's even said a couple times that they've been to other worlds, right? She has parts of her clothing and armor are made of substances and materials that you don't recognize, that are clearly not of this world. They're of material that you don't recognize. And so the answer to your question is no, she's not from around here. But we have a bit of a complication here on the hunt roll. Or you encounter something terrible. That's the thing. Quite simply, this is taking too long. And you hear a pair of guards marching up to the armory door, and they are opening the door. And she immediately grabs like her sword and her in one hand and her crossbow in the other. And she says, "Arm yourselves quickly."
So I wonder, I'm sorry, Marin, that I'm hugging the spotlight here for a bit, but because I was trying to kind of use this hospitality ritual to keep the peace. So I'm wondering whether that might still be like, I might try to invite them into our circle, these guards. It's kind of a long shot, but
I kind of like it. Vanek, are you?
Because I was just about to do this. Yeah, what do you think, Vanek?
I'm like freaked out, but yeah, we can try it.
I mean, you can try it. I mean, these risk rolls they're dangerous because you're adding dark dice every time. But but if you want to go for it, by all means. I think the stakes of what you want are fairly obvious. What could go wrong, Rowan?
I think the guards attacking is too obvious. I think a slightly non-obvious thing would be to alienate the vampire hunter.
That would make sense to me in a sense, because I'm kind of trying to do this to impress her that it might be a good thing to ally with us if we can kind of keep these guards friendly, So that's my goal actually, is to kind of impress the vampire hunter. But if it goes wrong, that she thinks we're foolish, that might make sense.
I think your carousing skill applies here to get you that first light die. What do we think about the second light die? Any devil's bargains, Merwin?
I don't think we're getting any benefit from this room in terms of weapons or armor, but maybe oh man, that's really harsh. I don't even like it, but I'm going to say it. Maybe she's inadvertently picked up subpar weaponry.
Interesting. I'm going to say that no matter what, these guards end up dead at the end.
I think I'm not gonna take these.
You have one light die, one dark die for hospitality. Go for it.
All right. It's a 5 light.
Oh, thank God.
The complication is going to be that I think the complication, I do like the idea of you alienating the hunter a little bit. I'm going to play with that idea. Basically, I think she's going to like not be into this trickery, and she's not going to be hostile to you, but I think she might like say, come back to me when you've got like a better plan or an idea what you want to do here, right? But describe the magic. What does it look like?
So this is not the way to forge an alliance with her, which is the set goal.
That is the set goal, yeah.
Yeah. Because that's kind of what it's going for. But okay. So let's see. So I want. So okay. So let's then if that doesn't really. Like, I think Triss was kind of trying to impress this woman and kind of, you know.
I think she doesn't have time for this kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but I do think at least. So basically, Triss, these guards come in and they're kind of ready, and for some inexplicable reason, and that might at least, even though she's not into it, it might at least a bit impress the vampire hunter. He just looks at them with this kind of. He has this inviting. He can put on this inviting face, and of course it's kind of supported by magic. But suddenly, it strips them of all this hostility for a moment, at least while they're in this circle, and he just says, come, sit down, have some wine, and tell us about your day. And so I think if at least if the huntress is not really into it, I think Triss wants to use this to find out something about the castle and to figure out what these guards can tell us about.
Yeah, I think that's great. Yeah. So she will realize that you've ensorcelled them in some way. And when they sit down to like drink wine with you in this armory, in this kind of relatively small space, and I imagine you're just kind of sitting like maybe like leaning up against the cabinets or something, or, you know, whatever. She just says, this is preposterous. I don't know what you've done to them, but you are playing with fire, friend. Nothing happens in this place that the Blood King is not aware of it. Nothing happens without the Blood King being in control. This here, these guards, these blood thralls, acting as if they are your friends, it's because the Blood King wishes it to be. And you are both fools for not realizing this. And she says, come and find me when you want to be serious. And she leaves with her stuff. Vanek, what are you doing right now? Because there are two guards in here and they're drinking wine, and they are they're not super talkative, but maybe if you press them or ask them questions, you might get something out of them. Oh, you're muted, Merwin. I muted you earlier. Vanek, are you there? Maybe we lost Vanek. Well, so Triss, keep it going. What do you do?
Sorry, I'm here. I didn't realize I was muted.
Sorry. So what do you
do? I'm toying with the idea of putting the spiral crown on, but I don't think I want to pull it out this early.
That's a power move, but yeah. Maybe not right now.
Yeah, I think it's a little too early. What I think Vanek is too freaked out by the two guards in such close proximity that he's tongue-tied. Just doesn't want to deal with them at all, and he's just looking to Triss for a way out. You know, if we leave, are these guys going to attack us right away? That kind of thing. how long are they friendly for? And he'll try and sidle over and ask, what, I know you've kept them from hurting us, but how long will this last?
I think we are going to finish this bottle of wine together. At least we should have that long. I'm about to ask our friends something about what they can tell us about what's on the level below us. What about you go fetch us something else from the kitchen, and I will help you carry it in a moment.
Okay.
Is this just a way of getting Vanek out of there?
Out of there, and then basically I want to ask them something and then keep them, like tell them I'm gonna get some, you know, fresh drinks, and I'll be back in a second, and we'll just leave them there if that's possible. We'll see. But they should be at least peaceful for now.
Okay. Well, I'll use that as my segue to get out, even though I have no idea where the kitchen is. I don't think that's the point.
So Vanek, you step outside.
Yeah.
And the guards turn to each other, and one of them says, "It appears our host has left us." And they seem a little confused about what to do now. And that's when you realize, Triss, they can't see you.
Okay.
They can't see you. They apparently can't hear you either. And they just make like a quick, like they say something like, "We need to get back to our patrol. The guests are starting to gather in the Great Hall." And they stand up. And in the meantime, Vanek, where are you going when you step outside?
I'm gonna go around the corner toward the back of the house because I really don't want to go toward the front. I'm thinking we should have gone west, but there's two stairs there. Looks like there's stairways that go up to our right.
Yes, there's stairways that go up, and then right by the back entrance, there's stairs that go down.
Yeah.
And as you step out into the hall, you'll hear that grinding sound as the hunter goes back into her little lair or whatever it is in the corner there, and she's apparently moving something behind the door. Right? So,
got it. That's her hiding place. That's where she's found to hide. For as much as she says the Blood King knows everything, he either knows where she's hiding or she's found a little space away from his sight.
I think it's pretty obvious he knows she's there because she said she's tried to kill him several times now, and he just like laughs her off. So,
I think Vanek's gonna head downstairs rather than upstairs.
oh, okay. So back there by near where you came in.
Yeah, and he'll wave Triss over as soon as he sees him exit the room.
Well, so Triss, what do you do when you realize that the guards can't see you or hear you, and they're getting ready to
I
just
think
leave?
I'm gonna get out there and try to follow Vanek as quickly as possible.
You can have that for free. That's no problem.
Yeah.
So you will all go down the stairs, and the stairs lead to an area that is, I would describe it as cramped and moist. And I've got a little map edition here for you. Throw that in here. Kind of just tuck that in the front yard here. The images always pop in so big. So this is the stairs are coming there, and there's this like kind of large central room. Well, it's not very big, but it's a sort of center room there. And there are what appear to be cells all around it. The doors to these cells they look like prison cells or jail cell doors, heavy wooden doors with like iron bars at the top so you can look in and out. And there are 5 of them total. In the center of the room, there is an old battered iron table stained red with blood. And there's a broken chain on the floor. And that's what you see at a glance. And everything is just very kind of, there's a wetness like in the air down here. Vanek, what do you do?
Is there a set goal for this space?
Yes. This is one of those set goals that, well, this is how Trophy Gold works. Things are revealed to you as a player through the set goals, right?
Right.
Destroy the Void Fungi.
Okay. Well, there doesn't seem to be anything or anybody down here, so it's safer here than it was out in the hallway where there's people walking around. So continue on down into this space and try to avoid all the ickiness, especially that table in the center, because if I'm mistaken, that's probably some sort of killing area, which I want to have nothing to do with. Are there sorry, did the doors to the off rooms have like bars or anything to see through?
They do. They're heavy wooden doors with bars at the top.
So take a look and see if there's anyone in there.
Just call them out by number there. Which one are you doing? They're all 36.
They're all 36. Yeah, there's 37 at the end, but there's 36s otherwise.
Yeah. So the side ones, they're dungeon cells. They're dusty. They're dirty. They're quite dark. Do you have a light source that can help you see things better?
Nina was carrying our torches.
Yeah.
Yep, I do not have a light source.
You can say you have a torch. It's fine.
Right.
Although if you have open backpack slots, you can have anything really. But
backpack slots.
I don't know if you do. Yeah, you have a couple. It looks
I
like.
have a couple. Yeah, I could take.
There should be torches or lantern or something in there.
Ooh. Nothing as fancy as a lantern, but I'll take the torches. Why not?
So you can take a 2-die hunt roll since you're using the torches to kind of see better. Go ahead and roll hunt dice 2.
Okay.
You encounter something terrible. You look inside the first cell, kind of going top, left, and then clockwise. And inside, you see, you see people who have been, they seem to have been like quite brutally tortured, maybe even fed on. They're shackled to the walls. They're emaciated. They bear terrible scars. They're missing hands and arms. And there are people crammed inside each of these cells. Now, not the sort of 37 cell. We haven't looked at that one yet, but in the 4 side cells, the north and south, yeah, you just see like just evidence of like torture. These prisoners, and when you move the torchlight up to the bars to look inside, everyone reacts like very terrified, like they kind of like they look terrified and they back up against the wall because they're scared you're there to hurt them. What do you do?
Call through the grates. Who else comes down here? Speak.
And give me a moment to read the dungeon real fast. They say, one of them says, the Blood King himself comes down here, and you get the impression the Blood King delights in torturing these people. And then another one says, one more brave or bold perhaps says, but he hasn't come down here for some time, not since it arrived.
What's it?
And this person goes up to the bars and looks in the direction of that cell that is on the far east wall.
Speak, man. What is it?
He just looks in that direction and points and then steps away.
All right. I turn to Triss. Whatever it is has them too afraid to speak of it at all.
That does not bode well.
But it's in that last room. I fear if we bring the light to it, it will only guarantee that it notices us. But
someone from one of the southern cells comes up to the bars. You can't see them too closely, or can't see them in too much detail, because unless you shine the torch over there, but you hear them say, I'll tell you what it is. Come over here and I'll whisper it to you. Triss, what do you do?
Sorry.
Go ahead. No, Mervin.
Yeah, Vanek will cross with the torch and set the torch between him and whoever's speaking.
You see that this person has purplish blue fungal growths growing over half their face. So there's just a single eye and their mouth and half their nose exposed, and the rest is like this sort of mushroomy fungal growth. He says, come close and I will whisper the secrets of this place to you. No, I take that back. He says, come close and we will whisper the secrets of this place to you.
I look at him and say, you are not injured like the others. What is this on? What happened to you?
And he's pressed up against the bars and he says, come closer and I shall tell you. I don't want the others to hear.
I'm not getting within arm's length of him, but mostly because I don't want him to grab me, because I don't know what these people are capable of since they've been trapped in here. So if he's not going to speak from an arm's length away, I look at Triss and I shake my head.
So do I have the feeling that these people in the rooms have noticed me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
We want to tell you our secrets. Come close so that we can whisper them to you.
All right. I'm going to literally set the torch next to the door, so it's right up against the bars, and move closer so that whoever this is has to go through the flame to get to me, but their voice can still be heard. Speak, I say.
This is a clever move because as soon as you get closer, it exhales a mouthful of spores, but they get burned up in the fire and therefore are no danger to you. But it tries. It goes, and the spores, but they burn up in the torch.
I think. Okay, I guess what Triss will do now, reacting kind of reflexively to this, is he has this pot of tar, and I think he's gonna throw it at that creature, and then we'll try to grab the torch and burn the tar, like light it on fire.
It's trapped and can't get to you, so there's no real risk here for you. It burns. It cries out and falls back, and you can see it burning. And as the fire inside the cell grows bigger, you can see that the cell is covered with this purplish fungus.
Which does not go up in flame.
Oh, it'll burn as well, yeah.
All of the fungus in that cell, at least?
Yeah, in that cell, at least, yeah.
Okay, all right. Step back, Vanek.
Okay.
That was quick thinking on your part. Can we see anything? Can Triss see anything that's left behind in the cell?
Make a hunt roll.
I think I'm gonna, because it's all like there's probably all this kind of. I wonder, can I use my white chalk somehow, or let's see, no, if there's anything, like what is left? No, what I want to do, I think, is what is left of the body or this creature. I want to try to get it with my grappling hook and the rope and kind of pull it out towards us.
So you want to it might be kind of tricky to get the grappling hook through the bars. Are you going to try to get the door open somehow, or?
I think so. I think I'm gonna open the door and then.
Yeah, if you take a crowbar to it, you can get the door open.
Yeah.
And so once you get the door open, you're going to try to grapple hook the body and drag it out to the hall.
Yes.
Hoping to accomplish what?
Basically using an object for my hunt roll to
oh,
get
you should do
it.
Got it. Okay, yeah. I'll go for it. 2 dice. Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
But you're trying to investigate the body, basically, right?
Yes, exactly.
Got it.
Yeah, just trying to find some way to incorporate this item. Okay, let's see. That's a 5.
Let me take a look at your skills, because I think that might have a bearing on what you actually discover. Acrobatics, distraction, evasion, carousing, brewing, maybe not so much. It's burned up pretty well, and I think there's probably not much to see there.
I think I'm gonna spend a token to find something valuable though on the body.
Okay, sure. You spend the token.
7 burdens, so I need some gold.
He does have something in his body, or on his body. There is, inside the singed pants, inside a pocket, or his trousers, inside a pocket, there is a small silver bird. It fits in the palm of your hand. And yeah, it's a little tiny silver bird. What do you do? You just take it?
I take it, yeah.
Then what, Vanek?
look at Triss. The other ones were afraid of whatever was in that cell at the end. We should take a look at this other cell on the way there, and then if we can
I
burn any
think,
more of this
yeah,
horrible stuff.
Chris is going to say, I'm tempted if whatever is in there is not human, it might not be able, still not be able to detect me. So maybe I could try to get closer there and see what I can see there inside.
Okay.
What do you think?
You can try, but it's pretty hard to see down here without the torch. So that's another thing I'm worried about. But we can try.
I think that's what Triss is going to do first. So I think Triss will say, I will try to get closer to see if I can see anything in the dim light. And if not, we might have to bring the torch closer. So I think Triss is going to creep up there, kind of see whether I can glimpse anything inside.
Make a hunt roll.
I think now I'm trying not to be seen, so I think evasion might apply.
I'll take that. Go for it.
So that's a 4.
You'll hear a voice from inside. You can't see much because it's too dim, but you'll hear a voice say, and the voice is interesting because it's like a voice, but there are like layers of voices. So it's like one voice, or it's like dozens of voices speaking as one voice. And it says, "You cannot hide from us. We have sensed your very presence from the moment you stepped into this place. What do you say back, if anything?"
Is this audible to
Yes.
Vanek as well? Okay.
I think at first I turn around and I kind of shake my head at Vanek. And then I think I just step up there. And I kind of tell him to come closer with the torch.
Yep.
There's no use in hiding here, apparently.
Inside, you will see a man sitting in a chair, the body quite distended and bloated, and absolutely covered all over with fungus and mushrooms. And the whole room is, but here it's not just a light dusting of fungus. It's something more substantial. They're thick tendrils that have sort of like anchored themselves into the stone wall. And at the heart of this sort of organic mass, this purplish organic mass, is this bloated person through which the fungus appears to be speaking. It says, "We are from the void. We will take over this place and then the world. You should join us in this glorious endeavor. Offer your body as a host and help spread our benevolence to the four corners of your planet."
So Vanek goes, "So you were not in thrall to the Blood King?"
The Blood King is nothing to us. Come close, breathe deep, and carry our message across the world.
I look at Triss and wave the torch suggestively in his in the direction of the of room 37.
So I think Triss has this feeling that like a basically torch and some tar might not actually cut it here, but since we do know that fire seems to be effective against this
The spores, at least.
Spores,
right?
at least, and maybe even the void fungi. I think Triss is going to. I think Triss is going to say, I might just know how to deal with this, whatever it is. I'm not afraid of it. And I think I want to try to use my immolate ritual again to engulf my body in flame and just go in there and burn it all up.
That's a daring, risky move. And I like it. It's a very risky move. Because first of all, you got to get the door open. That's like step one. And then you have to do the ritual. Opening the door might be more trouble than it was in the other cell. So that's one thing to be mindful of.
So what does the door look? Okay, so if I have the feeling, because of course this plan that Triss has kind of come up with necessitates him getting inside there. So what does the door like? If I step a little bit closer to look at the door to kind of think whether I can actually pull this off, what does the door look like?
Make a hunt roll here for examining the door specifically.
Let's see. I don't think I have anything.
Would you like me to make a roll for this since I have layers and a crowbar and a pickaxe?
It might be better, Vanek. Yeah, go for it.
Go ahead. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna kind of I think I'm kind of like, mentioning like, at the door, like, at the crowbar, like trying to communicate with Vanek without speaking.
Yeah.
That we need to know, what does he think about the door, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, if you make it clear you want to get inside, Vanek will start looking for a way to get through, which I think is a hunt too, a 1 light die plus 1 for the skill.
Correct. Yeah.
Do you get 1 for the tool as well?
It's skill or equipment. So
skill or equipment. Okay, so it's a hunt too. That's a 5.
You're going to get your answer. The complication is going to be just basically, or the terrible thing you encounter is just related to the answer, which is the door. As you get close, Vanek, and you kind of brush it maybe with the metal of your crowbar, there's a distinct staticky reaction. And you can see that there is a very, very faint but present shimmery red nimbus of magic around the whole door. Something is keeping this thing in here.
All right.
And take your token, of course.
I did that.
So Mervin, I kind of was wondering whether we should spend some tokens either here or later when we come back up to get our alliance with the vampire hunter. But what do you think?
So there's some dangerous things that Vanek is thinking, that he's going to pull Triss back a bit from the door and whisper as softly as he can into his ear and say, there's some magic, there's something. I suspect the Blood King is keeping this creature within that room.
It's probably why it hasn't spread any further than it has, right? So,
which means the Blood King has some control, but cannot fully eradicate the creature. Which means that it creates other problems, but it is potentially an ally, or at least a source of chaos in pursuit of our own plan.
we are no one's ally. We are the inevitable truth. We will consume all.
Well, I guess it's not worth whispering then. Yeah, so well, if you're not our ally, then we must seek to destroy you. If you are our ally, then you can help us against the Blood King.
We do not have time or patience or capacity for deals or deception. If you open this door, we will spread, and you will be our vessel.
So, I mean, I guess I don't see a way that we can actually deal with the magic as such. At the moment, at least, I don't see anything that we might have that helps there. So I think what we might, the only thing I can imagine that we might be able to do is to kind of drive it back with the fire that we have, to then try to open it with the crowbar against the magic. But I think that's kind of a really...
It's an open question whether you even need to bother with this too.
Yes, of course.
It's contained, so.
Yeah, do we... So should we get... I mean, we know what's down here and we know what's the thing, so I think we might be able to get back here later if we want to.
Yeah.
So we might be able to get up and spend some hunt tokens to find the vampire hunter again and ally with her and see where that gets us. What do you think?
I think that's probably a really good choice. But the only thing I'm worried about at this, well, there's multiple things I'm worried about at this point. The primary one is if we do manage to defeat the Blood King, if his magic goes down, this room opens.
All right. So the other thing is, I mean, that's good. I think what we could do also, I think we could ally with the Huntress by spending some tokens and then see whether she can do something against, because I think Triss has this crazy idea that he's able with his ritual to burn down this void, these void fungi, which I'm not sure that he will actually be able, but he's kind of, you know, thinking that he might try and then get rid of this other additional problem. But I think we need something or someone that helps us get this magic down first. The other thing, yeah, so maybe the Huntress knows something when we're allied.
Yeah, so if we're really interested in taking down the magic, I think the crown might help a bit with that. That's one avenue that we have.
Yeah, or you could try to ask Saku, or or the
I don't think the crown's really a channel to Sarku. It's more of a. It's almost like a MacGuffin.
I thought it was that, yeah, but yeah.
We've never really quite discovered what the crown does. It operates in different ways. It's very contextual.
But yeah,
that would be another good thing, like to try to see whether, because we are missing something that works against this magic. So if we want to do this, then what we might do is actually use the crown to see. Yeah.
All right.
The other thing, of course, we could do is to try to just spend some tokens to get rid of these fungi and then see whether there are some treasures here.
Yeah. So. Excuse me. The here's what I'm thinking. in addition to the consequence of if we happen to take out the Blood King and this room opens, there's also the consequence of if we actually are able to take out the fungi, we may have an opportunity then to acquire the Blood King's favor just long enough for us to get close to him if we need that opportunity. So in a way that we can do something that he couldn't, he may go, oh, you know what, these guys may actually be useful to me. I'll let them in close. Or he might kill us outright going, man, they're powerful. Let me see if I can kill them quick. It's kind of up in the air. But I'm thinking.
It sounds to me like at the very least, the table is set and you know what's where, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's maybe enough right now. So
yeah, I'm thinking the easier way out of this would be to give the crown to Triss, because Triss has the power to immolate, and the crown may augment that to the point that it becomes capable of destroying a creature like this. So I would simply hand the crown to Chris and then work the door with the crowbar while he's got a hand on it. That way his will opens the door with a little help and he walks in and blasts the thing. That would be my
the question is one of timing, though, because you might have struck something by sussing out that the Blood King apparently can't destroy the thing. And so maybe this is leverage, right? Like you could be like, well, look, we could do it or something, I don't know. But
yeah, what about
if you do it for free, there's no guarantee you're going to get anything from it.
I think that's actually, I think that's a good thing. So what about I mean, that's another interesting thing that we could do. We could just go up there and try to find the Blood King and offer this proposal that we are willing to destroy this fungus
if he
for
leaves.
him. Yeah.
If he leave and this is gone.
At least it will get us an audience with probably like
that's interesting.
It is indeed.
Yeah.
Let's take our second break. Come back in 5.
Okay.
This conversation is taking a bit long. This discussion about what to do. Vanek, while you are trying to figure out what to do, something grabs you from behind.
Oh, that's not good.
Triss, whatever it is, can't see you, but you can see it. It is man wearing very strange. His manner of dress is utterly bizarre to you, but to us, it would look like a large pink mohawk, a sleeveless leather jacket, work boots, and there are Union Jacks on the leather vest. But to your characters, it looks utterly bizarre. And this person grabs you and says, "Oh, what a little treat! What a pleasant surprise! I came down here to nick a few prisoners as part of my blood tax. I'm a bit short, you see, and the Blood King won't know where they came from regardless. But here you are. You're not all bedraggled and tortured and well, poorly looking. You're nice and fresh. Let me have a taste." And he bares his fangs, large fangs, and is ready to sink them into your neck. Vanek, Triss, you have the jump on this thing, but you have to act quick. I think this is basically a combat. What do you do?
I'm going to try to avoid the combat by binding it in place.
Very good. Okay, let's do that then. Risk roll. What could go wrong here, Merwin?
Risk roll. Risk roll. Magic goes wild and releases the magic on the door.
Ah, that's good. Like that one. I don't know if I can do any better than that. I'm into that suggestion. Tris, one light die if you have a relevant skill or a piece of equipment.
So, well, I think I will use some white chalk that kind of blinds that and throw it just in that man's face to blind it a bit, and then bind it with this chalk. That's kind of a, yeah.
Like chalk powder or something? Or
Yeah,
like
chalk powder. Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
Is there any way for me to help by like lifting my forearm and jabbing the torch that I've got into the thing's face?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think it's pretty obvious how you're vulnerable. So you could wait till after his after Adrian's roll though if you want. So
I will.
But I like where you're going with that. You got one light so far. Let's talk about Devil's Bargains. What do we got for Devil's Bargains? Merwin, any offers?
I hate this one, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I hate all my Devil's Bargains, but I say it anyway.
That means they're good.
I get bit no matter what.
Good. I like that a lot. I was gonna say, no matter what. No, I like that. I'll let that stand. That's your offer.
Well, if you're okay with that, I think I'm
not
gonna take
okay
it
with it. It's just a Devil's Bargain. It's just a Devil's Bargain.
Because I think we really need to get that thing, defeat this thing here. So yeah, I mean it affects your character, so yeah, you suggested it, so I guess you have to be okay with it. So I'm gonna take that.
2 light dice, 1 dark die for the binding. Go for it.
All right, let's see. It's a light 5.
Very good. I think the complication will just be the bite. I think the bite is I'm going to give you a condition of drained, even though I'm not going to increase your ruin because that's against the rules, but I will give you the condition drained, and that might have implications for the future Vanek. But in any case, let's go ahead and have the scene. What does this look like? You get to describe it. Or actually, if you want to throw in your help die, you can. If you want to try to go for a 6 and not hit a 2. If you hit a 2, your ruin will go up.
Yeah, I think it's worth it. So I'll roll my help die. What is it? Help 1?
Just do weak /weak to give you the light die.
/weak. 4.
Okay, it has no effect. So everything as it is. You can of course add a dark die if you want to re-roll, Adrian, but that's up to you.
I think we're good here.
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
All right, we'll describe it. So you bind the creature.
So the plan is, and I'm not sure if that already, but probably that's at least what I would have hoped, that I bind it and then basically tell. So I throw this chalk at it, and it seems to be kind of be distracted for a moment, but then moves forward to sink these teeth into Vanek. And I think because I come just this moment too late to then after I throw this chalk and then I have to put up my hands to kind of make this motion of kind of holding this ritual motion. And I think in this moment, like it sinks the teeth into Vanek's shoulder, I think, not the neck that it was aiming for, but in the shoulder. And then it just stays in this position. And I think I want to just draw, because I was thinking that maybe Vanek might try to kill it, but I think now Vanek is kind of, not in the right position. So I think I might draw my rapier and just run it through. Or actually, the silver dagger seems more appropriate to this creature. So
I like it. It's good. I was actually good. I was liking the idea of like Vanek pulls away, but the blood magic causes the blood to keep flying out of the wound into the vampire's mouth, and that's where the drain comes from. And so you have to kill the vampire in order to stop that, right? Because we just imagine him like being there, held in place, but like mouth wide open, like, and blood just like flying into it, you know? And so what do? Do you like stab it in the heart, or what's your?
I think I take the silver dagger and stab it in the heart from the back. Yeah.
It cries out, and essentially it kind of like just disintegrates in place, leaving a skeleton wearing a leather jacket and work boots and a pink mohawk. and it just collapses down to the ground. You can take 7 gold dice if you want.
Right, gold 7. All right.
You can each name one thing that you find of
Please
value and add
do
it to your
it.
found equipment.
Well, for me, it's definitely this kind of intricate gold pin of the Union Jack that remains.
I'm curious what you think of the symbol, because the symbol means nothing to you, right? Do you think it's like something arcane, or like what you're thinking?
Yes, I think Vanek. Well, the question is like, the question is whether I'm actually familiar with the concept of flags, right? Because that might be something, or that, but this one I've never seen, and we already heard of the Huntress. So I tell Vanek, like, I wonder whether this symbolizes the country that the vampire huntress is from. Whether she was hunting vampires that came from her world to this place somehow. We should ask her when we meet her again.
Vanek, what did you find? Worth a gold, assuming you're splitting it evenly.
You want me to be inappropriately amusing?
We'll X card it if it's too stupid. Go for it.
Because the way you describe the character, I'm thinking this is stereotypically appropriate.
Okay.
But I imagine that I have found a very thick, very ornate gold ring in the pelvic area of the
very
skeleton.
Good. I'm into it. Yeah, I'm into it. What is this? What is this unusual contraption? Right. Yeah. Good. Describe that however you wish and add it to your gear.
Okay.
So it seems like the guests are wandering. Maybe should not stay in one place too long. So what's next, Tris? Where are you all going? What are you doing? Are we just leaving the being inside that cell there, or what?
I think I'm gonna say to Vanek, we shouldn't linger here. We, at least for now, I take a look back at the door whether we can still see this magic, keeping it closed, and then I think we should go and meet up with the Huntress again. What do you think, Vanek?
Agreed. Yeah, I'll eye the door briefly alongside Tris, and then let him lead the way out.
So you can go back up the stairs.
Let's head to that room. She hides in the room next to the armory. There's some sort of secret hidey hole there.
Yeah, I mean, you can hear her moving things to block the door and unblock the door, right? And if you try the door, that'll confirm it. Like you can't like push past a certain point.
Oh, so it's just she's holed herself up in here. It's not really a secret.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering now, because now we actually killed a vampire, so maybe that might actually be enough to have her forge an alliance with us. So we might not actually use some tokens. So maybe by showing her this pin, that's at least Triss's plan, to show her this pin and tell her we killed whatever it was that was carrying this.
Well, so
Will
let's back
you-
up. So let's back
Yeah,
up. So you go
that's
to the
the plan.
door. You go to
Yeah.
the door, and it opens slightly, and you could probably just use your strength to push it totally open, push whatever it is out of the way. But you've got it cracked open a little bit, and it's very dark in there. What do you say, Tris?
Oh, I think he's stepped away for just a second, or he's busy.
Just a second, yeah. Can you repeat this? I'm sorry.
Yeah, and
Jason?
I'm gonna.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. And I muted you, Merwin, just FYI. Yeah, so you open the door just ever so slightly, and it's very dark in her hidey hole. But what do you say? Do you try to like get her attention? Like, what do you do here?
I think I'm actually going to throw. So do we hear, like, we are pretty confident that she's in there, right? Like we heard.
Yeah, absolutely. Vanek saw her go in there.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so, yeah.
All right. So I think I'm gonna throw this pin in there, and I'm gonna say like, I think Trish gonna say, just so you know, we are not as we don't only drink wine with guards. We are also able to hold our own against whatever horrors await us here. And we killed this thing, and I throw in the pin.
She says, "You killed one of these blood-sucking monstrosities."
It seems so.
Prove it to me. Tell me of your weapon.
I think I'm taking the silver dagger and just take my arm and through the door and just wave it around here. I use this and some magic.
You can feel her. She grabs it from you. And she has a lantern under a cloth. And so she pulls the cloth off to reveal there's a little light now coming in. And you can tell she's turning the knife over. And she says, "Is this silver?"
It is.
All right, then. It seems you are perhaps more serious about destroying these things than I gave you credit for earlier. Wait there. And you can hear her moving whatever obstruction she's put by the door. And she slides it out of the way and opens the door and says, "The guests have been gathering in the great hall. They have come from many different worlds, waiting for the Blood King to make his appearance. Perhaps this is when he will. No one can say for sure. But they wait in the hall until he does. Some of them have been waiting for a very long time. And they must each pay their tax. They can be destroyed in different ways, as you've discovered. I do not know how to destroy the Blood King. He has powers and abilities much more dangerous and more ancient than his followers. He is like a god. How does one destroy a god?
We may be able to help out there as well. There is something that even he cannot destroy. It waits in the basement. And
we will lure him to this thing, and so it will destroy him.
Well, I think it is a worse danger than the Blood King. I would not want to release it or introduce him to it without care. Where the Blood King is specific in his needs and timely and rationed. This creature is voracious. It will devour everything in its path.
Well, then we should avoid it. So.
But it may be a way for us to get close to the Blood King if you have a means, if you really have a means of destroying it.
I do not know how to destroy the Blood King, and I don't know of this other being that you speak of.
It is truly an abomination, but if we propose...
Look around, man. This is a whole den of abominations. They're everywhere. The walls are coursing with blood.
Yes, well, magic holds this creature in its cell. And without that, it would run across the entire castle, I would imagine.
So it is trapped here like all of us, then.
Well, as I said, I think the door is still open. We could leave anytime we wanted, but I've not tested that theory.
Yes, you have not tested that theory. Even if I could leave, I will not until the Blood King is destroyed. So let us make haste.
I think our next task then is to uncover a way to defeat the Blood King, because without that, it does no good to close in on his position, close in on his location.
Then I shall follow your lead. You have my crossbow and my sword and my axe.
Thank you for your assistance.
And here, mechanically, in a combat, she counts as an extra die, and she can absorb a hit for one of you.
Okay.
I think it seems like we're going. So she wants.
And Sekul met, by the way. Sekul's accomplished.
Okay. I think before we leave, I think I want to distract her somehow and take a look around whether there's something useful or valuable in this room that she might be leaving behind. Let's see how this distraction going.
Her lair?
Yes.
She won't let you in there.
Okay, we're just in the. Okay,
You're
so
just
she was talking. Okay, yeah. Okay, I see. Okay. Yeah. No, I think then I will just say. So. What else should we know about this place? Do you think we should talk with the lady that you mentioned before, the one who talks about her son?
She is utterly mad. You will get nowhere with her. I don't have patience for mad people or unserious people.
Vanek, what do you think? Should we pay her a visit before we go hunting for the Blood King?
You're muted, Merwin.
Keep forgetting to unmute. And I also forget that I have some background noise. Apologies.
Yeah, I keep muting you. Sorry.
I think it is probably a good thing if we can find more allies, if we can find more information, if we can find better weapons to use against the Blood King. Because right now, even if we were to get close, we have nothing to do. There's no chance of success. And so anything we can discover will be helpful. We just need to be able to survive it.
Well, it sounds like you're progressing down that
so.
western hall. You go past the armory, past the stairs. There's a door on your right and another door a little further ahead on your right. Where do you go? The furthest one is where the woman was.
Think I'm gonna, okay. I think I'm gonna listen at the other one anyway.
At the very first one there?
Yes.
Just past the stairs?
Yes.
Give me a moment, let me find it.
So where sorry, let me move this red icon. That's the guards wandering about, but Triss is at the first door. Okay.
I think I'm gonna also spread some chalk on the ground in front of it to see, like to mark it, whether something and someone leaves it, so that we can see this.
Sure. So you were at that room that, it's in the, so it's going to be over here, like down, you're kind of going towards in the western hall towards the south, right?
Hmm.
Or are you going?
So I think we're going here, right? Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you for moving your thing. That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, good. So that's the door you're listening at. Do a hunt roll.
So with the chalk that I would use, is that extra light die?
I mean, are you listening at the door? I'm not sure how the chalk helps with that.
No, with the listening, you're right. It doesn't really help. Yeah, let's listen. Let's see. That's a tree.
You encounter something terrible. You will hear a sloshing sound. Slosh, 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 slosh. Something sloshing around in there. And the thing you encounter that's terrible is, as you go down to the ground to maybe look under the door or hear, kind of down below, you'll notice that there are fairly fresh, wet, bloody footprints walking away from that door. What do you do?
But I don't hear anything inside.
Yeah, you heard a sloshing sound, like water.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, okay. I think I'm going to say, like, motion to Vanek that there's something in there, and then I think I'm gonna call him closer, and I say, like, there's something in there. Maybe the lady that must be in the next room will be able to tell us something about what is in there.
The hunter says, I occasionally see the guests come in and out of this room. They are always covered in blood when they leave.
Mm. A distasteful thought indeed, but perhaps they rejuvenate themselves by bathing somehow. If we don't need to go in there, I feel no great desire to do so, except to perhaps kill more of these creatures, but The last one took quite a bit out of me, so I'm not sure I'm going to be much help.
I don't think we should disturb whatever is going on in there.
Yeah.
At that point, you will hear a voice from behind you. If you want to partake in the bloodbaths, you should. And the person who is behind you, walking in this direction, she has sort of purplish, iridescent skin, and she's wearing a sort of large silk robe, which is barely closed, showing quite a lot of her cleavage. And she has a head full of shiny jet black hair. And she says, "You can come with me. There is a rejuvenating power in the blood bath, even for people like you." And she's only speaking to you, Vanek. The hunter has backed up against the wall, and it's got the crossbow at the ready. And this woman, she just disregards the hunter as if she's not worried about her at all. But she's talking to you, Vanek, and says, "The rejuvenating powers of blood are amazing. My people have discovered how to unlock its potential. I could share these secrets with you." What do you say, Vanek?
I say, I thank you, but I feel in my weakened state, I would likely be unpalatable to you and your kind.
No, don't be silly. I have no desire to feed on you. If I intended to feed on you, you'd be dead already.
But you are willing to talk.
Yes, why wouldn't I be?
Well, I would not mind conversation if you are so inclined.
Well, join me then. And she waves a hand, and the door just flies open, or kind of gently opens up. And inside, arrayed along a wall, are these large, bizarre, ornate golden bathtubs, bathing vessels.
Follow her in.
She walks in and just drops her robe completely.
Okay.
And steps into the blood bath. She says, "It's incredible." And she sits down in it. "Oh, will you hand me that, please?" And she's talking about there's a sponge that's just out of reach.
Yeah, I'll go pick it up and give it to her. And I'm sort of making soothing motions, with my hand downward to the huntress as I walked in.
Yeah, the huntress says, the huntress has her crossbow at the ready. She's like, "Do you want me to sink a bolt in her heart? Just give me the word and I'll do it."
No, I'm just making downward motions. I'm not actually speaking to her, but I go in there and I hand the vampiress her sponge.
She says, "Thank you." She takes it and she begins squeezing blood over her body, over her head and shoulders. Triss, what are you doing right now?
So I guess I had the feeling that this lady is not seeing me, just like the other vampire was not.
She can't see you.
So I think I'm going to very slowly, without trying to make no sound at all, go in there and see whether I can find something here that will help us evading any form of this.
Yeah, take a hunt roll while Vanek is
So I would use evasion to to not be, like, to make no sounds.
I'll take that. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Okay. A 5.
Take your hunt roll token. You're looking around, and I have a picture of the tubs if you want to see what they look like. They're quite impressive.
I think I'm also gonna spend a token to find something.
Okay, sure. Let me insert an image of the bathtub. There's a picture of everything in this module. This module is a great value for just artwork. There's our bloody bathing vessels there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And you spent a token, yeah?
Yes.
While you're looking around, you will find someone has dropped a small, like an earring, on the ground near one of the tubs. It is a beautiful gemstone, a deep red, beautifully cut gemstone. It's worth 1 gold. And while you're looking around, you'll notice that one of the bathtubs, they all have blood in them, but one of the bathtubs, the blood is moving. It's roiling, quivering, undulating. It's unclear if Vanek or this vampiress can see this or notice it. Let's continue with the vampiress, though. And also the huntress standing at the door, ready to shoot her if it comes down to it. So she says, so are you going to disrobe and join me in one of these other vessels, or are you going to just gather sponges for me as I need them?
I say I'm quite happy gathering sponges, but thank you.
Well, suit yourself. You will miss out on the rejuvenating properties.
Yes, I think my motives here are a bit more involved than simply enjoying the bath.
So what are you doing here?
Well, I think I'd like to see the Blood King move on from my world.
Oh, so you're not here to kill him. That's what most people like you are here to do.
Well, I don't really feel the need to do things like that if I can find another way.
Oh, I totally encourage it. If you get the chance to take your shot, do it. Rid us all of him.
You are not a fan? You are not a a supporter?
No. Well, I suppose I should be. He's named me his heir, the princess of the blood halls. But it's just, well, there's a whole history there that probably you want to be bothered with, and I won't bother you with it. Nevertheless, let's just say I'm ready to assume my place. So destroy him, give me my throne, and I'll be all the better for it. We all will be. I promise I won't visit this planet for another 1,000 years.
So I have a question. I'm not sure if there's anything that you wanna reveal again, or if it's just because I've forgotten it as a player. But I wrote down something about the Halls of the Blood King and the Blood Princess and a portal to another world. So I'm not sure whether Triss will remember anything that was told to him before.
I don't remember what you were told before.
Yeah, okay, yeah, so I was just asking. So something, okay. But because I don't know whether that was, because I wrote it down with a slash here in the notes, I'm not sure whether the Blood Princess is connected with a portal to another world or something. Okay, but at least Triss knows that he has heard.
You recall
this,
something
like,
about the Blood Princess.
Yeah, something, yeah. I'm not sure. I'm wondering, but I'm not 100% sure whether that is the result of a carousing move but okay, maybe for the next session I will try to figure that out by looking at the thing. So, but I think so. If I may jump in here, because I think Triss really doesn't feel that good, right? His ruinous 4, right? So I think Triss might actually be interested in getting into one of the tubs, because if that might actually, like, he is a degenerate libertine, so this kind of experiences are maybe something.
Are you going to drop your magic?
That's a good question. So probably, like, I probably feel that if I get in there, it will somehow disrupt the magic, right?
You'll be visible if nothing else, because of like the blood, right?
No, sure. I will be that I'm kind of okay with, definitely. So maybe there might be,
The question is, do you drop your magic and reveal yourself and then get in, or do you get in and then allow yourself to be revealed?
I think that was Triss. Like, I think Triss was about to step in front of the bathtub that the huntress is in, that the vampiress is in, drop his clothes there without being seen, and probably Vanek being like completely, because I think somehow Vanek is able to see me. Maybe there's some kind of, right?
Yeah, well,
oh no, he's human actually.
He's human.
So
Yeah.
So he will see. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna then, like, I just motioning to Vanek that like this kind of, like, I feel really bad, like, everything is aching, and because if there is some rejuvenating power of this and it might help me reduce my ruin, I think that's something that Triss is going for. Like, he just feels like he's not sure if he will be able to survive whatever is coming in this state. So even if it in the end drops my magic, I think I'm gonna go for that.
So you disrobe.
I disrobe, and then I get into
the blood tub.
And then basically it's
and then
probably
reveal yourself.
I probably be seen, at least, like my
She turns to look at you and she says, "How very disappointing. You've used trickery to ensure that no one could look at you before you got inside. I find that rather disappointing."
Would you have cared to see me before I got inside, my lady?
Well, at a glance, you seem to be, no offense to Vanek, more physically adequate than your friend here.
Well, I used to mainly be a dancer, my lady, so I know how to move. And
she says, "What a curious thing. As I look in your eyes now, I can see that you belong to another of my kind."
I am not afraid of blood, if that's what you're implying. I have had some encounters in the last couple of years that...
I would say you've had encounters much more recent than that. And that the one who has you in her thrall, oh, how very interesting. And she looks at you, Vanek, and says, "You seem surprised."
I will look at Triss. What is she talking about?
"I sense a name. Holston. Another name. Connected, but not entirely clear."
I think Triss tries to play this down and says something like, Vanek, we had our encounters with the blood god, did we not? We were marked by it.
Well, yes.
That's what she must be referring to.
She says, "Don't worry. Your secret is safe with me. I won't tell your friend that you've been rather duplicitous for the last months. I certainly won't share the nature of your duplicity."
Let's talk about other things. What is it that you find so rejuvenating about bathing in here? I think Triss tries to just, move on with the topic.
Vanek, what are you doing right now? I'm curious. How are you responding to all this?
Vanek's jaw is set. He was about to break a different topic of conversation, but he's busy filing this away because if somehow Triss is connected to Lady Holston, he's not sure how much he can trust him. But
the huntress says from outside, "Do you wish me to put an end to her lies and trickery?"
No, we're good right now. This is part of our information gathering, remember?
And the huntress just says, "Very well, I shall keep watch. But I find this all most disturbing."
Rest assured that I as well feel likewise.
Vanek, my friend, I will tell you all about it as soon as we have been able to escape this horrible place. Rest assured,
We'll
what
look
I
forward
did was to ensure our safety.
At this point, Triss, you will notice out of the tub where the blood was roiling around, you will see a pair of glistening blood pseudopods rising up out of the tub. And Vanek and the Blood Princess have not noticed this yet, but you notice it, Triss. What do you do?
So we established that now my magic is gone, right?
Yes.
Like the obscure magic.
Yep.
Okay. I have the feeling it's somewhat threatening, I guess. So it gives me an uneasy feeling, I guess. So I think I will turn to the Vampiress and tell her, what is this?
She turns and says, "Oh, bother, living blood." Ugh. And she says, "Quickly, do you have something to dispatch it with? It is quite a menace."
What will kill it?
Fire, obviously.
I light a torch.
Make haste, make haste. And here I am with no weaponry of any sort.
I will do my best to light. I don't know how you light up living blood, but I'll give it my best shot.
She turns to you, Triss, and says, "Aren't you going to get out of the bathtub and defend me?"
I will, my lady. I think Triss gets up, blood running down his body, and give me another one of these, says to Vanek, the torches.
This is my last one. I give him the other torch.
The thing begins, it clambers out of the tub, and it's about 6 foot diameter, roiling mass of blood, of living blood, pseudopods lashing out. It is it's combat 7, so you found its weakness, so it's lower than it would be normally. And how are you vulnerable? Say how you're vulnerable and roll your weak point.
I'm gonna call out to the huntress as well. A little bit of help.
She turns and she comes in. She says, she shoots a crossbow bolt and goes right through the blood, does nothing.
Yeah.
And she says,
right. "You need fire."
She says, "Well, light me a torch and throw it to me."
I don't have another one.
There's one among my clothes. Pick it up.
So she's going through and she's rifling through. That's how she's vulnerable, I suppose, if she was rolling. But anyway, say how you're vulnerable, roll your weak point. Let's do this.
Good, Mervyn.
Yeah, I'm distracted because I feel like I need to keep one eye open toward the vampiress. Because why is a vampiress afraid of blood? That's just, I think she's testing us somehow. So
I think it's pretty clear that I'm actually naked. So that's, wow, I'm vulnerable.
Yeah, you don't have any armor, right? If you're, well, depending what kind of armor you have, I suppose, but
Yeah, I have a tunic, but yeah, I don't have right now.
Indeed. Well, so let's get your weak point numbers. What are they? /weak.
Minus a 2.
mine is a 5.
Very well. We'll do a combat 3. Go ahead and roll it, Tris.
Ooh.
That's enough, but the 5 does hit Vanek. Vanek, what does that put you at ruin-wise?
Ruin-wise, I am at 4.
Okay. Unless you want to mark armor, of course.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, I will mark my books and bedding.
Okay, cool. Let's have the scene, though. So everybody gets to participate in the narration a little bit. Kick it off, Tris.
I think I light the torch and step towards it, but try to keep back a bit because I'm really not wearing anything. But that might just kind of, this flame that I push towards it might distract it just long enough that Vanek might be able to get in there.
And I think basically, I think what happens is the huntress is not able to get the torch lit in time, but when she realizes kind of what you're doing, she tries to distract the living blood by making noise, calling out to it, so that Vanek can get in there with a torch and burn it up for good. So what does this look like, Vanek? Do you want to describe finishing it off?
Yeah, so Tris is working at it from one angle, and I come around to work at it from the same angle for just a moment, because my goal is to get it out of the tub. It's really hard to burn the thing, I feel, with it in the blood. So once it gets out of the tub and it starts eroding on the floor, that's when we get our advantage, and we can disperse it, mash it, evaporate it, burn it when it's on the floor. So that's what we do. We get it out of the tub and then just keep striking at it and dispersing it until it dissipates.
What happens when it hits your armor? What does that look like?
It's probably just going everywhere is the problem, and I'm sort of seeing that it's not. Just because you burn part of it doesn't mean the little pseudopods aren't still alive. So it fragments, but the little pieces are still moving, and one of the little pieces probably gets buried inside in my pack and starts burning away at all the books and bedding that I've got in there. You're on mute.
I love it. We're getting pretty close to time, so I think I'm going to give you a treasure roll when we get back for next time. Basically, there might have been something at the bottom of the tub. But I think we just end this scene with you having destroyed the living blood, and the Blood Princess raises her purple hands out of the blood and just begins. Bravo. And we'll end the session there. Let's do stars and wishes. Stars are things that we enjoyed, and encounters, scenes, whatever. And then wishes are things we hope to see for next time.
I think one of my stars and wishes is both a star and a wish at the same time, which is it's great to have 2 players because it makes it way scarier. But I really wish we had more than 2 players because it's way scarier.
Yeah, the tension was that was a star for me. The incredible level of tension the entire time. Basically, as soon as you stepped inside the castle, everything feels so dangerous and so bizarre, and so that was just really enjoyable to kind of watch. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Stars for, I think, the whole, like, this being on the one hand, like you said in the beginning, this is a dungeon kind of thing, but we actually I think we're doing a lot of role play out of it, and I think that, but basically apart, I mean, I think you're running it great, and I think I really like playing with you, Mervin. But my main star, I think, at the moment, because we haven't played Trophy for a while, is Trophy Gold goes to the system. I think because I'm just remembering how much I love this system, because it really fits with the, like, even though I have actually not played it that much and I've not run it much, but it fits very well with what I feel like I want out of this kind of play, which is, on the one hand, I think it's interesting because it has so many mechanical aspects. Like, I'm normally, I think I said this before, but I'm normally not really interested in, like, kind of min-maxing or mechanical play as such. But I think this system combines it in a way that I always think both, like, how can we use all of this to our mechanical advantage with the hunt tokens and with the equipment and with the skills, but in the end, this always leads to the story, right? Like, it does not. I think that the interesting thing for me about Trophy Gold is that really getting into trying to create mechanical advantages actually, for me at least, enhances the story instead of kind of distracting from the story. And I think that
you
really great.
You can power game and min max, but still get like a good result in terms of the fiction, which I think is probably it's good. I agree with that. Another star for me is well, I've already said how much I really enjoyed the tension, and I did. And you said this as well, but I love the role play in this one. There was a surprising amount of really solid RP going on in here. It was just fun to see your characters like talk and kibutz about what to do and kind of like figure out what to do, and kind of like, even though it took a while, it was enjoyable to watch that scene in the dungeon where you were trying to like just figure out like, well, what do we do with this fungus? Like, do we leave it here? Do we try to do anything with it? Do we wait? Like, that was just really enjoyable. And it felt very OSR, which I think was enjoyable as well. And of course I had to put a wandering monster in there at a certain point, but it was really cool to witness all that. And there's just a lot of good RP. And I'm really happy with that scene that we got at the end with the Blood Princess, which is how it can play out in the module. Like, depending on like when you get there and kind of what you do, you can encounter her there, right? And so that was really fun to play out. I was enjoying that. And I'm also enjoying my last star. I'm enjoying, there are lots of little tiny hints and clues being dropped about like this place, but I don't think you two have really put it all together yet, but it's there, and I'm enjoying that part of it.
I think another thing that kind of builds on this is that for me, and that also builds on what Mervin has said, is I think because it is so dangerous, or it feels at least so dangerous, but of course it also is. It really, I think that kind of leads actually into the role play, because you're always trying to solve these situations without heading directly into a fight, right? It's not this kind of, you go from room to room and you just kill whatever is in there, right? And I think you could probably play this, or this module probably would play like that if you would play it with like a D&D kind of system, right? But here, that you just can't do that with Trophy because it will kill you quickly. So I think that's interesting, because it kind of produces this different kind of in engaging with the setting. And I think that's how we all collaborate very much to kind of get out, like really get more out of these situations than just getting into the next combat, right? So I really like that.
I wanted to note here, we didn't get a chance to really say it, but when we get back for next time, I will. But you will get to lower your ruin by taking the bloodbath.
Okay.
But there's a little narrative hook there, which we'll explore next time. So,
yeah.
But yeah. Any other stars and wishes before we go? My wish is
Well-
I just excited to keep going. So
Yeah. I have one more observation, which I don't know if it falls into a star or a wish category, but when we stepped into the basement and encountered the dungeon with the void fungi in it, and I said, "What's the set goal?" I didn't do that when we entered the bath.
right.
Because
well, there's not one. So yeah.
okay.
But yeah.
But I was a little hesitant to do that when we entered the bath, because it's like, oh, well, we know what the set goal is there, but it sounded as if sometimes it sometimes it's damaging to the reveal without providing it's not a purposeful reveal. If it's not a purposeful reveal, it's sort of destructive of the narrative. And so I'm a little hesitant to know what that line, I don't really know what the line is between should I ask for a set goal or not ask for a set goal.
I mean, I'm always just supposed to tell you. So like, you don't have to ask, like I will eventually remember and tell you. So you don't have to worry about that. But no, the whole set goal for the entire west wing of the manor is just making the alliance with the Huntress, and you did that. So the rest is all just a surprise. So there's that set goal is accomplished. There's a set goal for the east wing, and there's a set goal for this sort of central great hall as well. So.
And just to make sure, I was under the impression, and this is a little more concrete rather than stars and wishes, I was under the impression that we had gone up the right side of the map, but I think we went up the left side of the map, because north should be up.
Yeah, you're on the like as we're looking at it, you're on the left-hand side.
Okay, so I was under the impression that we started on the right-hand side of the map with the little blue dot. And
you started in the, like, as we're looking up at the top part of the map where that little door is right there, kind of like not quite in the center. That's where you first came in. And then you went down the stairs to get to the dungeon.
Right.
And then you went down the hall to get to this room.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, to get to that door, I thought we started on the right side of the map where the little light blue dot is, because we had to come through the wall, the outer wall, and that was on the right side, bottom right. But I think I did that wrong.
Okay.
I think we
really paying
actually
attention.
we came like let me see. We came from the side where the Huntress is now,
Right.
like the
Yeah.
no, actually
Okay.
not the Huntress, the other the lady that is calling out to the
And the princess, she came from, well, it's actually, you don't actually know from which direction she came when she walked up behind you, so that you don't know.
My guess is she was upstairs, but that's just a guess.
Yeah. So anything else before we go? That was great fun. Anything else you want to?
Yeah, no, I had a great time. But like I've really, the overpowering thing for the whole session was, I usually feel this kind of pressure when I'm playing what I'll call a regular game.
Yeah.
When I'm playing a regular game and I'm the only player, that's when I feel this kind of tension. I never feel this kind of tension when there's even one other player in the room.
Interesting. Well, probably because it hasn't been that dangerous, as dangerous as it could be, I suppose. But it can definitely get more dangerous. So, but
it's it has been a great session. I think I also like because we have some history, and even though we might have forgotten half of it by now because it has been a while, I think there is this kind of interesting dynamic between Vanek and Triss, also because they are really quite different kind of characters, right? Because Vanek is much more like careful and reserved in a sense, right? And so Triss, so I really like getting back into playing Triss, but also interacting with Vanek. I really like that.
The RP was really good this session. It was really enjoyable. It was fun to see the characters sort of, kind of be settled with each other and kind of like, being a party of two, but a party. Now you're kind of a party of three with the Huntress, but
yeah. And missing Nima is interesting too, because hearing Adrian talk about how he perceives Vanek and Triss, Nima seems to be sort of the middle personality, the bridging personality, which is really interesting.
Yeah, it's a real shame Blaine can't be here for this because I think he would have loved it. But, well, I think we're good to go
Right.
then. If there's nothing else, I'm going to stop the recording.